Millions of people in Ontario's worst pandemic hotspots are waking up this morning to a life they have not seen since last spring. Toronto and neighbouring Peel region are once again under lockdown, a drastic step to avoid what Ontario's premier calls the worst-case scenario. The province reported another daily record for new cases over the weekend, more than half of which were in those regions that are now locked down. So Michael Serapio leads off our coverage this morning with, Michael, what the lockdown looks like for both Toronto and Peel region.
Well, you know, despite the seriousness of it all, Heather, the joke is what it's going to look like are more COVID love handles, more COVID shaggy doos. And that is because Toronto and the region of Peel, which includes the cities of Mississauga and Brampton, are going into these lockdown restrictions. As of midnight, so 6 hours ago, those restrictions coming into play. Now, these are all the result, as you say, of the tightening numbers, the rising case counts in Ontario, in particular in Peel and Toronto regions. Take a look at the latest numbers as we have them released by Ontario yesterday. You see it right there. Peel topping the board with 490 new cases. Toronto coming in with second with 460 cases. The provincial total posting 1,534, the 17th day in a row that Ontario has had more than 1,000 new cases to announce. That is why in Peel and Toronto will be locked down for the next 28 days at least. That means no gyms, no personal services, no in-person post-secondary classes except for clinical work, no indoor or outdoor dining. Gatherings will be limited to only the people within one household, except for those who live alone. They are allowed to gather with another household. Weddings and funerals, they are limited to 10 people, whether indoors or outdoors. Again, that is Peel and Toronto. As for the rest of the province, take a look at this map. There are many green places, but as you take a look at the heavily populated south, you see the mix of red and orange zone restrictions, which does allow more freedoms than what Toronto and Peel face, but still limited interactions and freedoms to what was before. A real heightened sense of alert and concern at this moment in time, Heather, as we are now just 4.5 weeks away from Christmas.
Indeed, the timing of all of this, Michael, you are right. It is far from optimal. Now, we'll be watching Ontario very closely today, these two regions in particular. But we want to focus on Alberta for a little bit too, Michael, because Ontario with a far greater population, Quebec with a far greater population, and yet Alberta's numbers higher than both of them yesterday.
You're right, outpacing both of the largest populated provinces in this country as Alberta broke its own record for another fourth day in a row. Take a look at the number posted by Alberta on Sunday yesterday. 1,584 new cases in Alberta, more than the 1,100 new cases announced Thursday and Friday, more than the 1,300 on Saturday. An incredibly high rate as well. As you say, consider the fact that Alberta had more daily cases than Quebec, despite having only half the population of Quebec, more daily cases than Ontario, despite having only a third of the population of Ontario, and less, and certainly despite having the restrictions in place in certain cities in Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, Grand Prairie, Fort Mac, Red Deer. They apply to bars and pubs, but the impact of these restrictions have failed to show any results so far. So will Alberta introduce any new restrictions? That is something we'll be watching for. For now, the Alberta Premier Jason Kenney keeps encouraging people to avoid contacts with others and to basically do not have any type of social gatherings in their homes. Is that enough going forward? That is something that we'll be watching as this day goes on.
We certainly will. Michael, thank you very much.